Hello and welcome to Cassette Take. And in this episode, we got a wonderful special event for
The
you.
best thing that came out this year, hands down.
Oh my gosh, that's right. It's the Cassette Take Grand Special of Madam Web.
Woo! Dakota Johnson,
It
let's
is
go!
the greatest movie of all time.
Oh yeah, it was
Hands down.
It was so enjoyable.
No studio interference.
No.
No, artists were free to roam wherever they went.
They really did. They really put their stamp on this
Yeah,
one.
so with that wonderful prelude, no sarcasm at all, I'm Ethan,
I'm Annmarie.
and welcome to Cassette Take, where you can rewind where you can eject wherever you want.
The
But please-
Madam Web excitement just got to you.
Dude, the cobwebs are getting like in the,
oh
the
no!
cogs, just
Do you
my
need
gears.
Amazon Prime?
We got a lot to get to, but yeah, welcome to Cassette Take, where you can eject wherever you want, but please don't forget to rewind. And we did
We spent the money, everyone. Don't worry.
our
Our hard-earned cash.
our 650 Tuesdays at AMC.
Yes, thank you, Amos.
Oh man, so our Morbius Curiosity won the day.
Yeah.
And we went to go see the
You sound so sad right
the
now.
attempt. Well, we went to go see an attempt at a movie called Madam Web
Yes.
with an $80 million budget,
Yes.
done by a studio that has proven time and time again that they can in fact make movies.
What? Wait, which one?
Well, I mean the Spider-Verse.
Oh, but that's not part of Spam. Spam?
Oh no,
Spam.
I'm talking about like the studio, like all
Oh,
of
they
Sony.
can make
They
movies.
can. They really can.
They have done movies. They have.
Yeah, exactly. And they've also just made movies too. So they have shown that they are capable of doing that action, that specific action of making a movie.
Yeah.
This Madam Web.
It's not good. It's not good. What did we... I think Ethan and I... Okay, so I texted Ethan. I'm like, hey, do you want to go see this? And he's like, And I'm like, ask Sydney Sweeney. That's how low our bar was. And it even hit that bar because Sydney Sweeney, I'm sorry, they ruined you in this movie. You were done dirty.
They wasted her.
They
They
wasted
wasted
everyone.
everyone.
They wasted
Like,
Dakota Johnson. I get she gets a lot of hate for 50 Shades and all that, but she's a pretty good actor. We saw her for that trailer for that movie.
It starts with a D.
Yeah.
Daria. No, that's something completely different.
I don't know, but like
yeah.
she's a good actress. Like we know she can act.
Yeah, and she has shown that time, here and there, and I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe when she is. By the way, full disclosure, we are going right into spoilers. We don't care. This movie should not be seen by anyone with a wallet. I think it's worth seeing if you're not paying for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can laugh. You can laugh your butt off.
We did have a good movie theater experience. We were with some couple of people that were laughing at it the whole time. So it was a good movie experience.
Honestly, the theater was a lot more packed than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
And by packed, I mean like 10 people.
It was just us and 10 people. Okay, in full disclosure, do you think Dakota Johnson was tricked into doing this movie?
A little. I think it was a misguidance. Like her agent was kind of like haphazardly like looking at the job listing and all that, and just like, oh yeah, Marvel, this is the next big thing.
Oh
You
my
gotta
God.
get out here. They just saw Marvel in big like bright letters on the marquee and just thought, oh my God, we
And-
gotta get my stock Dakota in there, get her in there, and then suddenly they realize, oh, it's not that Marvel.
And then underneath of it, it says Marvel, and then underneath it says Spum, because it's like the Sony Spider-Verse universe. And they're like, what's Spum? And they're like, don't worry about it.
You mean that thing that's in that weirdly shaped can that like
Spam?
yeah.
She was 100%. I do feel like...
We didn't even get into what the movie is about.
Okay, yeah.
Which,
Does
sorry,
it matter? Like, really, does it matter? This universe is dead on arrival. It's not gonna do anything.
well, it arrived already, so
Yes.
it managed to stick its so-called
Webs. Feet?
webs, limbs, whatever it's got. I don't know what this
Alright.
creature of a
Fine.
franchise is.
What was the movie about, Ethan?
So the Madam Web is a attempt at a movie about a woman, an EMT, who is suddenly exposed to her powers of like seeing in the future, and you know she realizes, wow, these three teenage girls are in trouble. This guy that can crawl on walls and have an inconsistent like super strength ability. We'll get to that. And like is trying to kill him. No, you don't do that. That's bad. So Dakota Johnson basically abducts three teenagers to save their lives, but couldn't save this movie. And we have an attempt at a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
If you could tell already, we don't really care with this one. It was
you know what? We both went in expecting to make fun of it, and we did that.
Yeah, we did, and
even from the first shot, Ethan starts laughing at the first shot, and I'm like, what? And he's like, the camera lens is on the camera. Like, Madam Web's mom is taking a picture, and the camera lens is on the camera.
Yeah, she's like about to take a picture. It looks like the camera lens is on there. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe it was just like me inherently thinking right out of the gate, I'm looking for every flaw in this movie. Right there.
I love, and then, like, the way the spider people, there's like Amazon spider people in this too, and they use the shot maybe 3 times of them like carrying Madam Web's mom, and it's like a video game. It's just like it bounces.
It was like if Sonic the Hedgehog, like someone said, hey, I need you to make a spider person that's kind of like having a Tarzan thing going on, where they're jumping through a jungle. Can you do that? And they're like, Sonic the Hedgehog, got it. Like, what?
No. Yeah, this is what we're doing now.
I don't want to change the file name, so this is what I did. This is final.
And they put final with like 2 L's. That's an inside joke, but it's funny.
All you graphic designers and editors, you
get it.
You feel us. But yeah, so
was there any like really, because I walked out and I said one good thing about this movie. Was there any good thing for you? Like any little thing? Well,
just the laughability. Like I loved how ironically humorous it was.
Yeah.
It just, I found myself laughing pretty darn hard. And I think no matter what, it's kind of like The Room. Like, if you're able to make something, and like, listen, all you artists out there, keep in mind, even if you make something that is so unintentionally bad, but it gets like a really good reaction out of somebody and makes their lives a little better because like they got some sort of laughter or enjoyment out of it, I'd say, yeah, I think that makes the world a better place. I love that. Mm-hmm. I love when you're able to create something and get like a genuine emotion or reaction out of somebody. Granted, like, does it mean everyone had that same reaction? There are probably people that genuinely hated this movie and didn't laugh their ass off like we did.
Yeah.
Probably. But, you know, I found myself laughing my butt off. I saw you doing the same. Everyone in that theater did. And we were all having this community experience together that is very rare in a movie theater nowadays. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Do you think they kind of were thinking, listen, this is not going where we want it to go, so we're going to try to make it this phony thing, like Catwoman. I kind of was thinking, I'm like, oh, this is going to be like, you know, those movies that just kind of, they're funny and they end up becoming cult classics. I'm like, do you think that's what they were trying to do with this film? Or like, because when we first heard of Madam Web, we were both like, why? That's stupid. Why do a Madam Web movie? And then there was some stuff that came out, and it kind of sounded like Terminator and all that. And we're like, okay, Terminator with Peter Parker, like, okay.
Or like a spider person.
Yeah. And there's like, they have Emma Roberts in this movie, by the way, which I'm shocked they got Emma Roberts for this.
Yeah, they just randomly dropped her in a movie. It's like she was walking.
Yeah.
You know, she was supposed to be this pregnant woman in, like, another movie. She probably stumbled on, like, a different set. And they're like, oh, this is the perfect time. Like, quickly, get the cameras going. And
the story was supposed to revolve around her more. Like that. Because it doesn't make any sense.
They abandon her, by the way.
They do!
Middle of them, like, they make her this, like, plot point to get the characters from one point to the other, like, during the climax.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, they just kind of drop her.
Madam Web's like, go! Take her far away!
They're not gonna chase you anymore.
Because it would have been more interesting if... Because the bad guy is afraid that these young teenage girls who will end up being Spider-Womans are gonna kill him. So he's like, I'm gonna kill them sooner. Wouldn't it make more sense that he's afraid of Spider-Man in the future and he wants to kill Mary Parker? Like, that makes more sense, right?
Are you talking about hypothetically?
Like hypothetically, I guess.
Yeah, then I would probably say yeah. I mean, I still think you could have done it similarly to this.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think they were taking this material seriously at all. They just kind of were like, oh, it's a franchise. It'll make money. And Morbius, we gotta really lean into that meme culture.
Yeah.
And it really, really showed that they were going for that. Because there is no way that you have a budget of $80 million.
Yeah.
And especially when we just saw a movie like Godzilla -1, $15 million, be as good as it was. And then you have this with all... It's like they had $1 million for each. They're like, oh, Spider has 8 legs. Let's multiply that by 10 million. And we have movie budget for Spider-Person.
I just don't... Because, like... I just don't get what they're doing. Like, what is Sony doing? What you have Spider-Man. I get it. You have to share Tom Holland with Marvel and be little babies and share him. But, like, you could do, like, why can't they do an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man? Like, continue with that. Or, like, what are you doing making these movies? No one wanted a Madam Web movie. Like, she's a third-degree character in the comic books. Why are we making a movie about her? Like, I get Venom. Like, I totally get Venom. And I get Kraven, which they should just cancel Kraven at this point. But Madam Web? Why?
Man, I don't know. I don't even know what this... Like, why? I mean, are you even building up to anything at this point? Like, there was no post-credit scene.
No.
Which
they knew.
Yeah, it's like, oh, maybe we should kind of calm it down.
Yeah.
Question though, do you think that this after this, because I'm not sure what the production timeline was for Kraven versus Madam Web, and like when they were being filmed simultaneously, or like what was going on with what, do you think that Kraven is gonna lean into that meme culture too, or do you think that it's more stylized to the point where it's like, no, we're actually gonna really try to make a intense dark movie, whether it be good or not, like the stylization of it?
Well, it depends on who wrote it, because if it's the same guys who wrote Morbius and wrote this one, it's going to be a horrible. I truly think they should just cancel it at this point, but yeah, I really do think it's going to be campy. Like, even from the trailers, it looks campy. Like, oh man, the lion's blood got on me. Now I'm craving. Like, this is so stupid. Like, don't ruin these characters. Like, they're pretty cool characters, and
I don't know, you ever have lion's blood spilled on you?
I don't...
How do you know that's not how
Stop
it works?
it. It doesn't work like that. But I just don't get it. Like, are they trying to build sinister sense? Because Venom, some people are half and half on that film, but I like Venom and all that. But what are they doing? My brain. All
right. Yeah, we could talk about like the Sony Marvel universe disaster of a universe. Like, if you want to see a Crisis on Infinite Earths, here you go. Crisis on Infinite Studios is more like it. But yeah, so let's get down a little more of the technicalities with Madam Web. Right out of the gate, besides our little lens cap mention, there's a dubbing problem with this movie. There's a big sound mixing issue.
Oh my gosh, it was so bad. The bad guy, every line of his was dubbed.
It was like Tommy Wiseau from The Room.
Oh my gosh, he was so...
I was just waiting for him to like turn to Dakota Johnson's character and say, "In a few minutes, bitch." Like, I mean, seriously, the dubbing is so abhorrently bad. I mean, I, it's like you again. You see $80 million budget. It's almost like the Percy Jackson show. You look at it and you're just like, where did all the like that
Where
money
did
go?
your money go?
Yeah, which by the way, Percy Jackson review will come out soon. Don't worry
We'll
about
get
it.
that.
We're fans, but
We're fans
of the franchise. But anyway, back to the current piece of garbage we're on.
It's interesting because, like, I don't know the actor as well. He wasn't Napoleon, though. I know that.
Who?
The bad guy in this. Ezekiel. He's in Napoleon. Tahar Ramin? I might be mispronouncing
which,
it.
by the way, I cannot, like, I'm not sure if, I can't vouch for, like, their acting or if, like, it was the directing. But
or the writing.
Well, it's definitely the writing.
Yeah.
But I mean, between the directing and acting for like a delivery of a line or something like that, I mean, we don't know. We like unless you were on that set,
yeah,
or like part of that studio system, you don't know like if what the intent was and what they were allowed to do. What were they like containing or being reserved about? I mean, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, I don't want to go too harshly on the actors or, like, a lot of the artists with this because we don't know what went on behind the scenes.
Of course.
But we can still critique it.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's the hard part, and a lot of people are noticing that, and a lot of people are talking about studio interference with this film especially, and that's a whole other conversation about studio interference if you're for or against it. And I don't ever want to bash anyone, but, like, he was dubbed. Like, he was dubbed. Like,
yeah.
no matter what, I don't think anyone can disagree with that. Was he dubbed because he did not deliver the lines well, or was he dubbed because studio interference?
Right, or, like, maybe there was a reshoot, or maybe there was a problem with, like, sound on set, which I've had to deal with as a producer at one point, where we had, like, a day of production and the audio that we got was not set up properly, and it was all raw audio that the cameras were recording, and the mics that were supposed to be working were not working, so we ended up having to kind of do some sort of redubbing of it, and it still, I mean, it wasn't horrendous. Like, it probably was the equivalent of what was done in this movie.
Yeah.
But again, we had a much smaller budget we were working with. They had $80 million.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Like, that's the thing that I'm like, I don't know if I can give you a pass. You had $80 million for this film.
Yeah, and also, again, from the producer's perspective, it's, like, I'm not going to say studio interference is inherently bad.
Yeah.
I think there's always a perfect balance of, like, a studio, having their say and also the artist having their say. And, I think compromises are needed. Again, I think this was brought up in something I was listening to earlier where they were talking about Peter Jackson, and he was really encouraging, well, I wouldn't say encouraging, but he was very, having this positive light on the studios that the studio, I believe, what was it, New Line?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all the notes that they were given, obviously, it wasn't like, you have to use this or else. It was more like, okay, we need you to use this, find some way to implement it with your style, and, everyone has to give into something, and, that goes for both sides.
Yeah.
So I don't really like it when people say, hey, this is all because studio interference, or, hey, this is because the artists had too much control. Everyone was a yes man to them. I mean,
it's both of their faults.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's like, do you think they should have Batgirled this, David Satzal, and just cut it? Like, really? Like, so far it's only made $52 million. Like, you could have gotten a tax write-off for this and kind of saved... Like, we don't know how Craven's going to turn out now, but I don't think it's going to turn out well now.
Dude, no one's craving Craven.
Oh, gosh.
The only thing I'm craving right now more than that is a box of Craven. Or a Crave. It's a Crave.
This feels like we're, like, in our sponsor today.
No, we're not sponsored by Kellogg's brand.
Yeah. But no, seriously, like, this movie, like, it's so disappointing, and you can feel like no one cared. Like, Dakota Johnson, there was nothing she could do to save this movie, and it really did seem like she felt like she was tricked into this film.
Yeah, again, we don't know what the director's intent was.
Yeah.
Maybe the director was tricked into doing this movie.
Honestly, yeah.
But again, at the end of the day, artists and studios are both responsible for putting out a good product that is viable, and again, it's one that's going to be, it's gonna give it. We want to give you our money. We want to give you our money for like a good product.
Well, we both walked in there with low expectations, but we both walked into Madam Web hoping for something good.
Right. Oh, I mean, we were always hoping for that, but I mean, at the end of the day, we still got
a fun time.
Yeah, exactly, a fun time, which I think is good. But again, the movie itself. Don't get me wrong.
No. Don't worry. Is there anything you think they can do to like save this universe at all?
I honestly don't know, because I don't know what direction they're going for. Like, initially,
you don't know their end game.
Like, right? No, I mean, I thought initially it was supposed to be the Sinister Six thing that they were going to be setting up, and maybe you're gonna bring in like these other, like a spider, like a Toby or Andrew, because that whole Spider-Man situation, but. I don't know. Like, you bring in someone like Madam Web, who seemed, especially with how they did this movie, as more of a hero, like attempt at a hero. Maybe they had those lines of dialogue where she's consistently pretty much an asshole for a majority of the movie. Maybe they're like, oh, that means she's an anti-hero. Not quite there. But
it just reminded me of when the little kid, she saves like this little kid's mom, and he goes up and he's like, I drew a picture for you. She's like, what am I supposed to do with that? I'm like, what? Just take it, like you're human.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like that, I don't know if she was supposed to, but again, at the end of the day, it seemed like they were trying to make her a hero.
Yeah.
Who beat a bad guy, and she saved people, in the crossfires. And if you're gonna do that, what's going on with the Sinister Six? Like, you just added another hero. Are you trying to make like a Sinister Six versus like some sort of Elite Six of Spider-Man villains / heroes? I mean, led by a Andrew Garfield or whatever, like to kind of get a weird endgame thing. I mean, that's kind of creative, but at the same time, your groundwork is like mush.
Yeah. They don't. Yeah, I wish they would just take more time on these films too. Because again, like I walked out into this movie and I'm like, listen, this isn't like a bad idea. Like, there needs to be a lot of reworked in Madam Web, but it's not a bad idea. Like, and so if you just took your time on stuff, I feel like it would have been better. Like, why are we rushing this? Like, you want Endgame money? Guess what? Took Marvel like 10 years to get to Endgame money. Like, you can't just do it. And I guess like you have Venom and all that, but like Venom is even iffy too. Like, people love and hate that movie.
Yeah, I think personally I enjoyed those movies. I like the first one better than the second one.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for the third one. I like to passively watch those movies. Yeah, they're enjoyable. But yeah, it's like if you're trying to set up this expansive universe and kind of make your own little Marvel thing with the characters that you own, you're not doing a good job. At the end of the day, you need to tell like a good story and focus like about the character that you are currently on, and then once you're done, then focus on the expanding that universe. Because if you make garbage, no one wants to expand on garbage. I mean, seriously, I don't want like. I throw my garbage out. I don't like leave the bag in there, keep throwing garbage in there, expecting like it to go away.
Something will work.
Yeah.
This is the same studio that did Into the Spider-Verse. That's just the crazy part about this whole thing.
Yeah, but then again, it's also the same studio that did, and the same writer that did Morbius.
Was this better than Morbius? Or worse?
It's worse.
Yeah, it is. I was like, please say it's worse, otherwise this is gonna be awkward.
100%.
Yeah.
But At least we saw it. We can say we saw it, and we could say that we didn't like it, but we had a blast watching it.
We did have fun. It was funny. The guys behind us were like, "What?"
Oh my gosh, yeah. It was fun. It was fun. So I thank Sony for that.
Thank you.
But yeah, I guess those out of 10
Oh, stop.
out of 10
Out of 10 spiderwebs? Out of 10 Amazons?
No. Out of 10 Amazon?
Because they kept going back to it.
No,
And like, Ethan the whole time kept making an Amazon Prime joke during this movie. It was so funny.
Yeah, it's like, well, they kept going back to the Amazon, and it's just, there's a scene where she's looking through her postcard, and it's just like her, I lean over to you, and I'm just like, hey, oh my gosh, where, my Amazon Prime password. It's like the back of a photo of her family, her and her family.
I didn't need to cut you off. Out of 10 what?
Yeah, no, out of 10...
Pepsi cans?
Yes! Out of 10 Pepsi cans.
Because this was just a Pepsi commercial. Okay. The movie...
Whoa, wait. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
You reminded me of what I was going to bring up.
Yes.
Yeah. So, the inconsistency of this villain's, like, super strength... So, like, he's supposed to be super strong, he's super fast.
He's Spider Boy!
He's Spider Boy!
With no webs.
And he can climb and all that. And, you know, we see him, like, being all this super strong. And then suddenly, he just has some shrapnel fall on him, and,
The S?
No, before the S.
Oh,
the thing that holds him down so the S hits him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's under this Pepsi Cola sign, and he's just... trapped by a few metal beams or bars or something. I'm like, dude, just push it off of you.
You're Spider Boy.
You're Spider Boy, man. You showed that you had the super strength. You had the super speed. Mm-hmm. You have all this, dude. Just push it off. And he's like, oh, I'm stuck. Help me.
With his weird accent too.
Yeah, and his dub. Not even his dub could push it off, man. Like, oh, it's horrible. And then on top of that, you have this S that falls on top of him, and apparently that's what kills him. And it doesn't really crush him. You can still see his head. He's like
he's fine.
Yeah, they felt the need to show his head. They didn't even have the balls to like crush his whole body. It's just like, no, he still looks good.
Thank God there was a post-credit scene to this.
Yeah. Oh, can you imagine?
He takes the S off. He's like, I'm alive!
Yeah, and then Madam Web becomes Professor Xavier in
no.
a wheelchair at the end. So it's like she starts the X-Woman or whatever, the X-Spider-Woman. I don't know.
Birds of prey!
Arachno-Woman. I don't know.
Oh.
But yeah.
They're my babies, my spider babies.
My spider bitches. But out of 10 Pepsi cans, how many would you give Madam Web?
For the movie theater experience, like a 7. I really enjoyed watching this movie because it was so funny. The movie, oh man, like a 2 because of Dakota Johnson and the girl that played Anya. That's it. A 2 is fair.
Yeah. I'd probably give it, just because of how much fun we had in that theater.
Yeah.
Just laughing our butts off.
I separated them.
I don't know. I wouldn't, like, I gotta give credit where credit is due. Where it's like, if you made a bad movie and you were able to still make me, like, smile afterwards, like, with just how horrible it was, but, like, in a laughable way.
Yeah.
It provided me joy in that sense.
There you go.
Is it the joy, I always desire when I go to a movie theater? Not necessarily, but, it did provide me with a little sense of joy. And for that, I will give it a very, very generous score of 3 Pepsi cans.
Wow! The build-up.
So, yeah, that was Madam Web. Our wonderful takes, not brought to you by Pepsi.
Dang it.
But, yeah, what do you guys think of Madam Web? Did you go see it? Are you waiting?
The pause. Did you go see it? No? Okay.
Understandable. But, again, I wouldn't recommend paying to go see this movie. If you do, make sure you get a good discount on it,
Yes.
like we did. But yeah, wait for it to go to streaming is my recommendation for free. Watch it then, because I still think you should watch it. It's gotta be almost seen to be believed with how bad it is. But yeah, wait for it to come to streaming. It definitely will, probably like Netflix.
Probably.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you went to go see it, like, what do you think about it?
If you were dragged to go see it like Ethan, let us know.
And if you like Pepsi, what do you think about that? No, but again, thank you for joining us on this episode of Cassette Take. And with that bad movie, thankfully we'll be cleansing our palate.
Thank God.
With the big one that we're actually going to see early.
Dude, part 2! Check out our Instagram. We might be posting stuff.
Yeah, we're going to be bringing out some good old Dooney Tunes. Whether or not we
get the bucket.
Yes! Just about to say that.
Yes!
But yeah, whether or not we go through with our little bucket,
please.
Well, that's to be seen. But again, thank you for joining us on this episode of Cassette Take. We hope you haven't ejected thus far, but if you have or haven't, thank you. Just do not forget to rewind, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye, my spider babies.
Bye, spider babies.